Hello and welcome to the highlights of the semifinals of Legends of Chess. Today was the day for the second set with Peter Svidler and Anish Giri facing a must-win situation, having lost the first set to Magnus Carlsen and Ian Nepomniachtchito. So it was a do-or-die situation for the two contenders, but as it happened, as the drama unfolded, we saw that the day's action was divided. It was clearly divided into two parts. Part one was entirely a Magnus Carlsen show. He just needed 100 moves and 3 games to end the challenge of Peter Svidler, the last surviving legend in the semifinals. And again, it was the same old story. He won the first 2 games and drew the third. So he finished it off in quick time. And thereafter, the stage was left to Ian Nepomniachtchito and Anish Giri. Now, by this time, Anish Giri was trailing following the loss of his first loss, which came in the second game. The first game had ended in a draw, but he immediately hit back and drew level in the third game, and the fourth rapid was drawn, and then came the 2 blitz games. As you're aware that this being the semifinals, here from the rapid to the tie-breaking Armageddon game, there are 2 blitz games. So in that, Nepomniachtchito took the lead with white pieces, but then Anish Giri was not to be denied. He bounced back, leveled the scores, and forced the tie-breaking game. And that is where Anish Giri, I think, he served a very severe blow to Nepomniachtchito and his confidence. Nepomniachtchito, by virtue of finishing ahead of Anish Giri in the league, had the choice to pick whether he wanted white or black in the game. He opted for white. That means he had 5 minutes on the clock. Anish Giri had 4. And there was a point where Anish Giri looked up in a bit of a trouble in that game, but then he bounced back and eventually finished stronger to win the match and take it to the third set. So Svidler couldn't survive. Anish Giri survives to fight another day. Of course, today's game was watched by the legendary Garry Kasparov. He made it a point to stay connected, and he commentated in the match for a change, and that kept the audience rising, that kept the audience spellbound by his observations. And he discussed the game with Judith Polgar. Now, these 2 names, Garry Kasparov, considered by many as the greatest ever to have played the game, and Judith, the strongest woman player ever. So these 2 were discussing the games of Magnus Carlsen and the match involving Nepomniachtchito and Anish Giri, and it was a delight, and it was education for many who were just following these analyses. And Garry Kasparov felt that the way Magnus Carlsen is playing, at least for the couple of World Championship matches, he doesn't see anybody challenging him. So that's what the greatest player thought of the present-day champion. Carlsen won the first game very comfortably, and Peter Svidler, again, he didn't quite believe that he could trouble Magnus Carlsen. He just came and just surrendered in game 1. Game 2, Svidler gained a pawn, but then faltered on move number 19 and 29, and then lost rather tamely again to be 2-0 down. And then in the third, Carlsen chose not to be too ambitious, didn't want to win the third, as though he just wanted Svidler to just settle for a draw, and that's what he did. He chose a very solid opening with white, exchanged all the pieces except a bishop each, and then settled for a draw. So in all, it took him just 99 moves spread over 3 games to just stop Peter Svidler, the 8-time Russian champion. So thereafter, it was all about the drama. There was a lot of speculation before the game that Nepomniachtchito is playing a grudge match, having already lost to Anish Giri in the semifinals of the previous championship, and that showed because the body language of Nepomniachtchito was quite clear. He wanted to not only beat Giri but almost torture him to a defeat. and that's what we saw when he won his first victory, which came in the second game. He took him up to a point where he was just, I think, 3 moves away from a checkmate. So that was the way Nepomniachtchito dominated Anish Giri. But Anish Giri, for a change, has actually shown, especially in 2020, that it is not only his classical game that is sound. His performances in the shorter format of the game that has improved a lot, and he gave another example of it yesterday when he played the third game with black pieces pretty solidly, and apparently in that particular game Nepomniachtchito made an early mistake, but Anish Giri didn't give him a chance to recover, and played pretty solidly there, and drew level. And the fourth of the rapid games ended in a draw that left them at 2-2. Then it was time for the blitz action, and in the blitz again it was Nepomniachtchito who started as a firm favorite. Remember, he is considered the new chess speed chess king. I mean, in this newer generation, and he played with the confidence of a man who knew his stuff. And Giri again couldn't do much. Blundered away a position where it started off as quite keen for both sides, but then Nepomniachtchito just eased into a different gear and won. And in the second of the blitz games, now this is where I think Nepomniachtchito lost his way in the opening itself, and just didn't look the part. And Anish Giri didn't give him a chance. He just made sure that he won this game in great style. Now this is where I think the psychological advantage shifted from Nepomniachtchito to Giri, because he had drawn level twice in a match, and now it was down to the final game where Nepomniachtchito was clearly under pressure because he's just been hurt so badly by Anish. Because I think at some point Nepomniachtchito could feel the pressure of the kind of reputation that he's built over a period of time, that in this particular format he is almost invincible. But Giri definitely doesn't believe that. Giri has shown that he's really worked hard on playing fast, and he has actually taken on probably one of the fastest players today. And not just that he is testing him, he's actually beating him. So 2 victories behind him, and then started the Armageddon game. And here again, the initial part saw that Nepomniachtchito was lucky to get a slight break because Giri had faltered a bit. But then immediately after the very next move, Nepomniachtchito returned the favor, and thereafter it was Giri all the way. And the game ended with both players having more than a minute left on the clock. And Nepomniachtchito resigned in disgust and looked very, very annoyed with himself. Now, that is where things stand now. Nepomniachtchito and Giri are level at 1 set all. And now is the time for the tie-breaking set. And in the meantime, you have Magnus Carlsen getting a well-earned day's rest, and he'll be just watching the third set to see whether it is Giri or Nepomniachtchito whom he's going to face in the final. So plenty of action, and with Giri winning, I mean actually upsetting Nepomniachtchito in this format. So a lot to look forward to, plenty of action. I'll be back tomorrow with more. Thank you for watching.